fine. Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, Tina Altieri with the latest from the 9 newsroom here in Perth. And while nations around the globe come to terms with the world's worst terrorist attack, US President George W. Bush has promised that those responsible will be brought to justice. Already, the impact of the deadly strike on America's financial and military centre has been felt right around the world. Amongst the thousands of tourists in New York at the time of the attack was Perth man Dennis Zuvella and his wife Emily. The couple was on their way to the Trade Centre and were just 4 blocks away when their tourist bus was ordered back.
We could see, both towers on fire and heaps of black smoke billowing out. People were shouting on the side of the street, standing in the middle of the streets, all shouting that an aeroplane had flown into the side. At first, it was almost surreal. We didn't quite know what was going on. People were starting to panic. We saw quite a few people sort of breaking down on the streets and crying. And sort of when it hit home, when the tour guide broke down as well, started crying and told us that the tour was going to be over and we had to turn around.
Security at US embassies and consulates around the world has been tightened. Here in Perth, the consulate has been closed as a precautionary measure. Despite its closure, security guards continue to maintain a heavy presence outside the St George's Terrace office.
Yesterday's tragic events were vicious attacks of cowardice. They were taken with total disregard for the lives of innocent people and for human suffering. These acts represent attacks on the American people and on the principles of freedom and democracy that we hold dear. It is an attack on anyone in the world who share these values. As President Bush said, the U.S. will use its full resources to defend its citizens, to find the perpetrators, and to hold them accountable for their barbarous acts. I want to thank the authorities and the people of Australia. In particular, I want to mention the leaders of the government, the Prime Minister, and the opposition, for their overwhelming support and their expressions of condolences and sympathy. We ask that you keep in your prayers and in your thoughts the victims and their families.
Amongst those offering their support early this morning, Federal MP Graham Edwards. Our Premier Jeff Gallop says he was informed about the terrorist strike during last night's sitting of Parliament. This morning, Dr Gallop held an emergency briefing with senior staff members.
This is a barbaric act, and I think of the families and the people concerned who have been affected.
What about from a Perth point of view? Do we have to worry about security or anything like that? Is there anything we need to do?
Well, I think obviously, I'll give a report to Parliament on aspects of those issues. Clearly, airport security is a very, very important question in our modern society.
As a mark of respect, a minute's silence will be observed in Parliament this afternoon. In an unprecedented move, airports across America have been indefinitely closed. Qantas and Air New Zealand have cancelled all flights to the United States. Security at airports across Australia has also been upgraded. Meanwhile, all military facilities across the country have been placed on orange alert. At Perth's Lewin, Irwin and Campbell Barracks, Army personnel and private guards are stopping and checking all vehicles. Now, the Department of Foreign Affairs has set up a hotline for anyone concerned about the safety of family and loved ones in New York and Washington. The numbers are 1-800-002214 or 1300 555 135. Those numbers again, 1-800-002214 or 1300 555 135. And we will have complete coverage of the terrorist attack and the world's reaction in a special 2-hour edition of National 9 News beginning at 3 o'clock. That will be followed by 1 hour of A Current Affair. And of course, we'll bring you the very latest in our regular news bulletin tonight at 6 o'clock. For now, we return to our network coverage.
Be able to get in there and start our animals. There's nothing here.
But then, as Brenda is in the